Good morning. The Happy Hollisters, Chapter 3, A Dog Hero. Pam grabbed Pete's hand as they stepped down into the darkness. The boy swung his flashlight around. On the front of the door were shelves for food. Nobody would guess it was a door. "This is our cellar," Pete said. "And look, Pam, that window up there is open. I guess the man went out of it." "I guess he did," Pam agreed. "There's a box right under it to stand on." The children found a stairway leading to the kitchen and pounded on the locked door. Their surprised mother opened it. "How did you get down there?" she asked. Pete and Pam excitedly told their family, including their father who had returned from the police headquarters. "Didn't you know about these stairs, Daddy?" Holly asked. Mr. Hollister said, "No, the real estate man had not mentioned them." "Maybe they're a long ago secret," said Holly, and the others laughed. Mr. Hollister, though, interested in the stairway, whispered to his wife his concern about a possible stranger using it. He wondered what the intruder's reason could be. "Dad, did you find out anything about the missing van?" Ricky asked hopefully as the family began their support. Mr. Hollister said there was no trace of it yet. "The police are to let me know about it in the morning," he added. The next day, the children were up early. Their father had left the house. "Did he go after our toys?" Sue asked. "No, dear," her mother replied, to his new store. "I hope he'll be happy in it," Sue said quaintly. The Hollisters had moved to Shoreham because of the store. Mr. Hollister had had a chance to buy a hardware business which had closed. To it, he had added all kinds of athletic equipment and sporting goods. It would open today. "I want to see our new store," Holly spoke up. "We'll go down after a while," her mother promised. "Dad hasn't any clerks yet, so he's going to let you all help him sell the hardware and sporting goods." "I want to sell boats," cried Ricky, "and show the people how they work." While we were waiting for breakfast, Ricky, his mind still on boats, wandered down to their dock. Pete caught up with him. "Hey, there's our boat," said Ricky. "Let's row it." The boys looked around but could not find any oars. Perhaps they were locked in the garage. "I know what we can do," said Pete. I'll get out and push the boat. Then I'll push you in real fast with the rope." Ricky thought this would be fun. He sat down in the stern, and Pete gave the boat a hard push. Away it whizzed. When the boat reached the end of the rope, it swung around hard. "Ow!" Ricky cried. He nearly fell into the water, but managed to grab the side of the boat just in time. Pete pulled the boat back. Then the boys exchanged places, and Ricky gave Pete a couple of rides. The boys were so busy playing that they did not notice their little sister Sue walking up the shore. They had last seen her going toward a sand pile in the yard. So here they're pushing the boat and pulling it back in. Sue had built several tunnels and pushed a little stick through, making believe it was a train going into a mountain. But she had tired of this and decided to walk along the waterfront. In a few minutes, she saw a large rock. Thinking that she could play lighthouse, Sue stepped on top of it. But moss, which covered the rock, had made it very slippery. Suddenly, the little girl's arms flew up and she lost her balance. Splash! Sue was in the water. It wasn't deep, but the water was cold. That poor child lost her breath and became frightened. She got up, but at once fell down again. None of the Hollisters heard her splash, but Zip did. The collie came bounding across the lawn, jumped into the water, and grabbed Sue's dress in his teeth. Pete and Ricky had seen Zip racing toward the water. Now they ran over to find out what he was after. Zip was dragging their little sister from the water. "Oh," cried Pete, then added, "Good boy." Sue did not know whether to cry or to laugh. Well, finally she laughed. "Zip's my bestest friend," she said. "It's a good thing he was around," Pete told her, "and you'd better stay away from the water, Sue, unless somebody's older's with you." Sue promised. Pete took her back to the house, and Pam helped her put on dry clothes. By this time, breakfast was ready. Mrs. Hollister and the children sat down. Their eyes sparkled when they saw what was on the table. "Flapjacks!" yelled Ricky. "I'll eat 10. Those are pancakes. Flapjacks is another name. He was only on his fourth cake when the telephone rang. Mrs. Hollister answered, and the message she received made Ricky forget all about the flapjack race. "Children," she said, "the police have found the missing van." "Hooray! Where?" asked Pam. "Near Stony Point, a town on the other side of the lake." "Oh, good," said Holly. "Now I can have my little piano." Mrs. Hollister held up her hand for silence. "Don't count on getting your toys back," she said. "The police found the van empty." The children sat stunned for several seconds. Then Ricky said, "I want to see the van, even if it's empty. Maybe something's still in it, under the big blankets." His voice quivered. Maybe Daddy's suitcase?" Mrs. Hollister thought a moment, then decided they would go. The children's father had left the station wagon at home. Quickly the food was put away, the dishes placed into the dishwasher, then they started for Stony Point. "Mother," said Pete, "do you think that strange man Pam and I saw in our attic had anything to do with the van?" "I wonder," she replied. "Certainly we've had plenty of mystery since coming to our new home." "But we're going to stay happy, aren't we?" asked Sue, who was never sad very long. "Of course," her mother replied. "The Hollisters won't let this keep them from smiling." However, she was concerned about her husband's lost invention. Just before they reached the town, the Hollisters saw a police car with 2 officers in it alongside the road. Mrs. Hollister stopped and told them who she was. "The van is on the little side road," one of the officers said, pointing. The children got out and ran to it. The van had a flat tire. The back doors were open, and there was nothing inside, not even the blanket. "Strangest thing I ever saw," said the policeman, coming up with Mrs. Hollister. "I don't know where the stuff disappeared to. We followed some tracks into the woods, but that's as far as we got." The children looked downhearted. The toys had vanished, and so had the special suitcase. They got back into the station wagon and headed for the father's store in Shoreham. All of them were quiet. They had lost their jolly chatter and their smiles because they felt very sad after losing all their toys. "I suppose we'll have to wait until Christmas for new ones," said Holly glumly. To make them happy again, Mrs. Hollister suggested that they might earn a little money helping their father and perhaps buy some simple toys. "There's a store," she said, stopping on the main street of town. "Isn't it nice?" The children gasped. They had not expected to see such a good-looking shop with big show windows and a fine display of merchandise. "The new names painted on it," cried Pete excitedly. "The Trading Post." As the children entered the store and saw the attractively filled shelves, they set up a cheer. How exciting to have a chance to be a real storekeeper. While Mrs. Hollister told her husband about the empty van, the children explored the Trading Post. What oohs and ahs came from them as they looked around the wonderful store. A new water cooler stood beside the door, on the side of a long aisle which ran down the middle of the store. On the left side were all the sorts of sporting goods, fishing tackle, roller skates, baseball bats, and tennis rackets. Beyond this section were toys. On the right side was a hardware department, hammers, nails, saws, wires, and cans of paint. "This is going to be fun, Dad," said Ricky, as 3 customers walked in. Mr. Hollister went to wait on them, with the children helping. One man bought a pound of nails. A woman took an orange squeezer and remarked with a twinkle in her eye that she would like to squeeze little Sue, too. Sue thought the woman meant it and scooted to the other side of the store. There she found a black and white rocking horse that was just right for her. "How adorable," she said aloud, and she sat down on it and began to rock back and forth. "I'm going to be a cowgirl." So here's the rocking horse. You can see how it rocks. This idea intrigued Ricky, who was always playing cowboys and Indians. If she could be a cowgirl, that would be wonderful. Ricky found a piece of rope. Making a loop at one end, he fashioned a lasso. "I'm going to catch you, Sue," he said, twirling the rope. "I'm going to put some of that energy of yours to work," Mr. Hollister called to Ricky. "Suppose you help unpack a carton of doll furniture." Eagerly, Ricky followed his father to the side door, which opened onto a driveway. A truck man was unloading a big box. He carried it inside and set it down alongside a tall stack of bait cans. Ricky, Pete, and Pam went to work ripping open the carton. Inside were all kinds of bright-colored doll tables, chairs, refrigerators, and swings. "This is going to be fun," Pam exclaimed as she carefully unpacked each piece. The children were so busy that they did not notice the side door open quietly. A boy slipped into the store without making a sound. When nobody was looking, he sneaked up behind the stack of cans. Suddenly, the stack began to move. It tilted over farther and farther. Then, with a crunching sound, the whole pile toppled toward the three Hollister children. "Look out!" a voice across the store shouted.